The night was quiet, but inside the ruined refugee camp the silence was heavy and sad. Broken walls stood like skeletons and old tents shook whenever the cold wind passed. Among the shadows sat a girl, her knees pulled to her chest, her head lowered as if she wanted to disappear. Her voice cracked as she whispered, "Don't touch me. I'm dirty, useless, shameful." She believed those words. For many years others had told her the same. She was an alien child who had lost her family during the war. And since then, every stranger she met had pushed her away. Her skin carried scars not only from battles but from the cruel hands of people who thought she was less than nothing. She had begun to believe them. From the darkness a man walked carefully. He was human, tall, and carried a small light in his hand. His clothes were simple, but his eyes showed a strange mix of strength and kindness. He noticed the girl before she noticed him. She looked weak, her thin body trembling from cold. He could see how afraid she was, like a wounded bird hiding from the world. The human stopped a few steps away. He didn't want to scare her more. "Are you all right?" he asked softly. His voice carried no anger, no command, only care. The girl shook her head quickly. "Go away," she said, her voice sharp but weak. "Don't come near me. I'm dirty. I'm useless. Shameful." Her eyes filled with tears, but she refused to look at him directly. The human crouched down, lowering himself so his height would not frighten her. He placed the small light on the ground, letting its warm glow spread gently around them. "I don't see dirt. I don't see useless. I don't see shame," he said. "I only see someone who looks very tired and very cold." His words confused her. No one had spoken to her like that in years. She wrapped her arms tighter around herself, whispering, "You don't understand. Everyone hates me. Everyone leaves me." The human did not move closer, but he did not leave either. He opened a small bag he carried and pulled out a piece of bread. Slowly, he placed it on the ground and pushed it toward her. "Eat, you need strength." The girl's eyes narrowed. She was suspicious. Many times before, people had given her food only to hurt her later. She shook her head. "No, you're lying. You will punish me if I touch it." The human's heart ached at her words. How many times had this child been betrayed? How much cruelty had she survived? He sighed and broke the bread into 2 pieces. Without hesitation, he ate one piece himself and placed the other back in front of her. "See? Safe, it's only food." Her stomach growled loudly, betraying her hunger. For a long moment she hesitated, then her thin fingers reached out and snatched the bread. She held it close to her chest like she was afraid it would vanish. Finally, she took a small bite. Tears fell from her eyes as she chewed. She didn't remember the last time someone had fed her without asking anything in return. The human smiled gently. "Better?" The girl didn't answer, but she ate quickly, almost desperately. When the bread was gone, she looked at him with confusion. "Why?" she asked. "Why do you help me? I'm—" "Nothing." He looked straight into her eyes. His voice was firm but kind. "No one is nothing. And you—" He paused, searching for the right words. "You are not nothing. You are precious, even if you don't see it yet." Her heart shook at his words. Precious. She had never been called that. She wanted to believe him, but her fear was strong. "You'll leave me." "Like everyone else," she whispered. The human slowly extended his hand, not to force her, but to show he was real. "If you want me to leave, I will. But if you let me stay, I'll sit here. I won't touch you unless you want me to. You don't have to be alone anymore." The girl stared at his hand, her mind torn between fear and hope. Part of her wanted to push him away, to protect herself from disappointment. But another part, a very small and fragile part, wanted to reach out. The wind grew colder and she shivered. Without thinking too much, she inched closer to the light he had set on the ground. She didn't take his hand, but she didn't tell him to go either. For the first time in many years, she allowed someone to sit near her. The human smiled faintly and whispered, "That's enough for tonight." He leaned back against the broken wall, watching the stars above. The girl sat silently, still hugging her knees, but her eyes followed the glow of the small light between them. For the first time, the darkness didn't feel so heavy. She still thought of herself as dirty, useless, and shameful. But maybe, just maybe, she was wrong. The night passed slowly. The broken camp was quiet except for the sound of the wind moving through the ruins. The girl did not sleep. She sat awake, her eyes shifting from the human to the stars above, afraid that if she closed her eyes he would vanish like a dream. The human, however, stayed calm. He leaned against the wall with his arms crossed, but his eyes never truly closed. He knew she was watching him, testing him. In her heart, trust was a broken thing, sharp and painful. He understood that winning it would not be easy. When the first light of morning touched the camp, the girl spoke in a shaky voice. "You're still here." Her tone was not happy but surprised, as if she had expected to wake up alone. The human opened his eyes slowly. "I told you," he said softly. "I won't leave unless you want me to." Her face hardened. "People say words like that. Then they go away, or worse, they stay just long enough to hurt me." He listened quietly. He did not rush to deny her. Instead, he reached into his bag again and pulled out a small bottle of water. Without a word, he set it down in front of her. "Drink, you'll need it." She stared at the bottle. "Why?" "Because you're alive," he answered simply. "And the living need food and water. You deserve both." The word deserve struck her like thunder. She had never thought she deserved anything. She had survived on scraps, stolen meals, or pity. No one had ever spoken to her as if survival was her right. Still, she pushed the bottle back toward him. "Keep it, I'm not worth wasting supplies on." The human's eyes grew firm. His voice, though still gentle, carried steel. "Don't ever say that again. Your life is worth more than you think." The girl's lips trembled. His words scared her, not because they were cruel, but because they were kind. Kindness was dangerous. Kindness could break her heart if it disappeared. She wrapped her arms around her thin frame and whispered, "Stop lying. You don't even know me." The man took a slow breath. "Then let me know you." "Tell me your name." She froze. Her name. It had been so long since anyone had asked for it. In her world, her name had become useless, forgotten. She looked at him with narrowed eyes. "If I tell you, you'll use it against me." "I won't," he promised. "I'll keep it safe, like a treasure." His words were too strange, too gentle. Her heart wanted to believe, but her fear wrapped around her like chains. She lowered her head. "No, I don't want to say it." The human did not argue. Instead, he gave a small smile. "Then I'll wait. When you're ready, you'll tell me." Silence filled the space between them. The girl did not know why, but his patience made her chest ache. She was used to commands, not choices. He had not forced her, not once. Later that day, he rose and stretched. "I need to search the camp for more supplies. You can stay here with the light." Fear shot through her heart. She jumped to her feet, though her legs were weak. "You'll leave me." He stopped, looking at her with calm eyes. "No, I'll come back. I promise." That word, promise, burned in her ears. Promises had always been broken in her past. She shook her head, her voice sharp. "Don't promise me. People promise before they hurt." The man's face softened. He crouched again so he could look into her eyes. "I know others have hurt you. I can't erase that. But I will not be like them. My promise is different." She searched his face, looking for a trick, a hidden lie. All she saw was steady eyes, quiet and certain. Still, her fear whispered inside her. "If you don't come back." She could not finish the sentence. He gave a small nod. "If I don't come back, then I never deserved your trust. But I will come back." He stood and walked into the ruins, leaving her behind with the small glowing light. She sat down again, hugging her knees. Every part of her screamed that he would not return, that he was just another shadow passing through her broken life. Minutes turned into an hour. Her chest grew tight with dread. She whispered again and again, "He won't come back. He won't. No one does." But then, footsteps. The human appeared, carrying a bundle of blankets and a small container of dried fruit. He placed them down gently beside her. "See? I told you." Her eyes widened, tears rising. She bit her lip hard, trying not to cry. You really came back?" He nodded. "I told you I would. I keep my promises." That night, as she lay under the blanket he had found, the girl stared at the stars again. For the first time, a small spark of warmth filled her heart. It was not trust yet, not hope yet, but it was the beginning. And though she did not say it out loud, she whispered inside her heart, Maybe he is different." The girl sat close to the small light the human had given her. She clutched the blanket around her shoulders as if it might vanish at any moment. Every time she looked at him, she felt confusion. Why did he stay? Why did he help her? People didn't do that. Not for her. The human noticed her restless eyes. He did not push her with questions, but he could see the weight she carried. It was heavy, almost crushing. After a long silence, he finally asked, "What happened to you?" The girl's whole body stiffened. Her lips trembled and her hands pulled the blanket tighter. "You don't want to know," she whispered. "My story is, Ugly. I still want to know, he replied. His voice was steady, calm. Every life matters. Even the painful parts her heart screamed not to tell him. Memories were knives. Each one cut deeper than the last. But something about his voice, the patience in it, made her chest ache. For the first time in years, she felt someone might actually listen, not to judge, not to laugh, but to understand. Her voice cracked as she began. I was born during the war. My parents tried to hide me. But soldiers came. They burned our home. She swallowed hard. I watched them die. I was only a child. The human lowered his head. His fists clenched, but his voice stayed soft. I'm sorry. The girl's eyes turned sharp, wet with tears. Don't say sorry. Everyone says sorry, but nothing changes. They all look at me like I'm cursed. Like my life is a stain. I ran from place to place, but no one wanted me. They said I was dirty. They said I was useless. Her voice rose, breaking into sobs. Do you understand now? I'm shameful. I should never have been born. The words echoed through the broken camp. She collapsed, pressing her forehead to her knees. The human listened without interrupting. He let her cry, let the storm inside her break free. When her sobs finally slowed, he spoke. You are not shameful. What happened to you was not your fault. Her head snapped up, eyes wide. Not my fault? She shouted. They're dead because of me. If I wasn't born, maybe they would still live. The human shook his head. His voice grew firmer. No. They died because of war, because of cruelty, because of people who chose violence. Not because of you. Never because of you, her breath caught. No one had ever said that to her before. For years she had carried the belief that she was the reason for everything bad. And now here was a stranger. A human telling her it wasn't true, but she couldn't accept it. Not yet. She turned her face away. You don't know what it's like. To be hated by everyone. To be pushed away again and again until you believe the lies yourself. The man's eyes darkened with his own memories. He sat down beside her, not too close, but enough for her to see the shadow in his gaze. I do know, he said quietly. The girl blinked, startled. You? He nodded slowly. I grew up on the streets after my family was taken by the war too. People called me trash, a thief, worthless. I believed them for a long time. I fought just to stay alive. But one day, someone reached out a hand. Someone told me I was more than what the world said. His voice softened as he looked at her. That hand saved me. Now I want to be that hand for you. The girl's chest tightened. She didn't know what to say. For so long she thought pain belonged only to her. But this man, this human, carried his own scars. Somehow that made his words feel less like lies. Still, doubt lingered. And what happened? Did that person stay? She asked bitterly. The man gave a faint smile. No, but their words stayed. Their kindness stayed. It was enough to keep me alive. Enough to remind me that I could choose to be different. Silence fell again. The girl looked at him with new eyes. For the first time she wondered if maybe, just maybe, broken people could understand each other. But fear still clawed at her heart. She wiped her face and whispered, If I believe you, if I let myself hope, what if you leave? What if you break me again? The man did not rush to answer. He leaned back against the wall, looking up at the darkening sky. I can't promise I'll never make mistakes. I'm human, but I will not leave you because of who you are. That I swear. His words sank deep into her like seeds falling into dry soil. She wanted to reject them to protect herself. But a part of her, small and fragile, wanted to believe. That night, as she lay under the blanket, the shadows of her past haunted her less. The pain was still there, but it didn't crush her completely. For the first time in many years, she felt that maybe, just maybe, her story wasn't over. And as she drifted into sleep, she whispered so softly that even the wind almost carried it away. Thank you. The human watching her heard the words. He did not reply, but a quiet smile touched his lips. Tomorrow would be harder. Tomorrow the world would push against them. But tonight, a new chapter had begun. The next morning, the ruined camp was brighter than usual. Sunlight pushed through broken walls and cracks in the tents, painting the place in gold. For years, the girl had hated the morning light. It only reminded her that another day of pain had begun. But today, something felt different. She woke with the blanket still wrapped around her. The human was already awake, boiling water in a dented metal pot he had found among the ruins. The smell of herbs drifted in the air. It was faint but warm and comforting. The girl rubbed her tired eyes. What are you doing?" she asked softly. He glanced at her and smiled. "Making tea. Found some dried leaves in a hidden box. Not much, but better than nothing." Tea. The word was strange to her. She could not remember the last time she had tasted something that wasn't bitter scraps. She pulled the blanket closer, suspicion and curiosity battling inside her. "Why do you do this?" she asked. "Why are you kind to me?" The human stirred the pot and replied, "Because kindness is what kept me alive, and because you deserve it." Her chest tightened. That word again, deserve. She looked away quickly, but something small, something fragile, warmed inside her. When the tea was ready, he poured some into a cracked cup and set it in front of her. "Careful, it's hot." She hesitated, staring at the steam rising into the air. Finally, with trembling hands, she lifted the cup and took a sip. The warmth spread through her thin body, calming her trembling. Tears stung her eyes again, but this time they were different. Not only from pain, but from the strange comfort she felt. The human noticed her silence. "Better?" She nodded slowly, almost shyly. "Yes, it's good." For a moment they sat quietly, sharing the simple peace. But the world outside their small circle was not silent. From the distance, voices echoed, harsh, mocking voices. The girl froze. Her face went pale. She recognized the sounds of other survivors who wandered the ruined camps. They were cruel, scavengers who treated the weak as less than dirt. 3 figures approached, carrying sticks and sharp metal scraps. Their eyes caught the girl first. One of them laughed cruelly. "Look who we found." The shameful little rat. The girl's hands shook. Instantly she lowered her head, clutching the cup tightly as if it could shield her. Her lips trembled. "I told you," she whispered to the human. "They hate me. Everyone hates me." The human rose slowly, his eyes calm but sharp. He placed himself between her and the newcomers. "She's with me," he said firmly. The scavengers sneered. "With you? A human protecting that thing? You must be desperate." The girl buried her face in her knees, shame flooding her heart. She wanted to vanish. This was how it always ended: mockery, disgust, rejection. No one ever stood up for her. Not truly, but the human did not move aside. His voice was low, dangerous. "Say what you want about me, but don't insult her again." The scavengers laughed, circling closer. "Or what? You'll fight us for a worthless creature?" The girl's heart pounded. She wanted to scream at him to stop, to not waste himself on her. She whispered through her tears, "Please, don't fight for me. I'm not worth it." But the human only glanced back at her, his eyes steady. "You are worth it," he said simply. Those words struck her harder than any insult ever had. She stared at him with wide, trembling eyes as he stood tall against the others. The scavengers pushed forward, but the human moved with sudden strength. With quick, precise movements, he disarmed the first, struck the second across the chest, and forced the third to retreat. He didn't kill them, only drove them away with clear warning in his voice. "If you come back, you'll regret it." The 3 stumbled away, cursing under their breath. Silence returned to the camp. The girl was still shaking, but not from fear anymore. She stared at the man, unable to understand why he had done this. Why he had fought for her, risked himself for someone everyone else despised. Slowly he returned and sat down beside her again. His breathing was heavy, but his eyes were calm. "You're safe," he said. Her voice cracked as tears streamed down her face. "Why? Why do you care so much?" "Don't you see? I'm nothing but shame to everyone." The man shook his head. "You are not shame. You are strength. You survived what no one should. That makes you extraordinary." Her lips parted, but no words came. Her whole body trembled, not from fear, but from the strange light blooming inside her chest. For the first time in her life, someone had not only protected her, but had declared her worthy of protection. That night, as she lay beneath the blanket again, she touched the cup he had given her earlier. The warmth of the tea still lingered in her memory. The warmth of his words burned even stronger, and though she tried to silence it, though she told herself not to hope, a small spark refused to die, a spark that whispered, "Maybe I am not useless, maybe I am not shameful, maybe I can be more." The following days passed quietly, but not peacefully. The girl and the human stayed in the ruined camp, sharing food, blankets, and silence that slowly grew less heavy. She still flinched at sudden sounds, still whispered that she was useless, but little by little, her eyes followed him with something new, curiosity. Yet the world beyond the broken walls was watching. Word began to spread among the survivors. A human was protecting a filthy, shameful alien girl. Some laughed at the foolishness. Others grew angry. In this world, resources were thin, and kindness was treated like weakness. One morning, the girl and the human walked toward the edge of the camp to search for clean water. The girl stayed close to him, clutching the blanket around her shoulders like armor. She whispered nervously, "They'll see us. They'll hate us." He looked down at her and gave a calm nod. "They may hate, but hate doesn't change the truth. You are still precious." His words warmed her, but fear still held her heart. She had lived too long in the shadows of mockery. As they approached, a cracked fountain where rainwater collected, a group of survivors blocked their path. There were 5 of them this time, larger, stronger, and armed with iron rods. One stepped forward, his voice filled with scorn. "Human, you disgrace your own kind. Protecting this shameful thing?" He pointed at the girl as if she were nothing more than dirt. The girl shrank behind the human, tears stinging her eyes. She whispered, "I told you, they will punish you because of me. Please leave me, save yourself." But the man stood tall, his eyes fixed on the group. "No," he said firmly. "I won't leave her." The survivors laughed cruelly. "Then you will both suffer." The girl's heart pounded. She grabbed his sleeve desperately. "Don't fight them. Don't do this for me." He turned his head slightly, his eyes gentle despite the danger. "You are worth more than their hatred. Don't ever forget that." The words hit her like a wave. She wanted to scream that it wasn't true, that she wasn't worth anything, but her voice failed. The group advanced. The human pushed the girl behind him and raised his fists. The first attacker swung his iron rod, but the human ducked and struck back with precision. Another lunged forward only to be thrown to the ground. He fought fiercely, but there were too many. One man shoved the girl aside. She fell to the ground, her knees scraping against stone. "Look at her!" the man shouted. "This is what you protect? A useless creature?" The girl covered her face, trembling, waiting for the blow she knew would come. But before it landed, the human caught the attacker's wrist, twisting it until the iron rod clattered to the ground. His voice thundered, "Don't touch her." The force of his words silenced the group for a moment. His eyes burned with fire, not only of anger but of something stronger, conviction. Still, the attackers regrouped, circling again. The fight grew harsher. The human's strength was great, but his body was not unbreakable. A strike landed across his back. Another cut his arm. Blood stained his sleeve, but he did not stop. The girl's eyes widened in horror. She cried out, "Stop! Please, don't! Hurt him, hurt me instead." Her scream echoed, and for a moment everyone froze. Tears streamed down her face as she stumbled forward. "I'm the shameful one. I'm the useless one. Leave him alone. He is good, not me." The man turned to her, blood on his face but determination in his eyes. "No," he said firmly. "You are not shameful. You are not useless. You are worth protecting." The words shook her deeper than the violence around them. Something inside her broke, but not in pain, in awakening. For the first time, someone had chosen her, even when it meant bleeding for her. The attackers hesitated. The human stood tall despite his wounds, his voice steady. "Leave now, or I will not hold back." The survivors, seeing his unbroken will, cursed under their breath and retreated. They spat on the ground, shouting, "You'll regret this, human. Protecting her will destroy you both." When they were gone, silence fell again. The girl rushed to his side, her small hands trembling as she tried to stop the blood on his arm. "Why?" she cried. "Why do you hurt yourself for me? I don't deserve this. I'm only a curse." The human knelt so their eyes were level. Despite the blood, his gaze was gentle. "Listen to me. You are not a curse. You are a life. And life is never useless." Her tears fell harder. She wanted to argue, wanted to scream at him that he was wrong, but the words died on her tongue. Instead, she whispered, "Then, why does the world hate me?" He sighed softly, brushing dirt from her cheek with a careful hand. The world hates what it doesn't understand. But I understand you, and that is enough. Her heart pounded as she looked into his steady eyes. In that moment, something unfamiliar bloomed inside her chest. It was small, fragile, but undeniable. Hope. That night, as the two sat by the faint glow of their light, the girl stayed close to him, closer than ever before. She whispered into the quiet, "If you promise you won't leave me." "Maybe I can believe you." The human placed a hand over his heart. "I promise." For the first time, her lips curved into the smallest smile. A spark had turned into a flame. The night after the fight was long. The girl sat beside the human as he cleaned the wound on his arm. He moved carefully, not wanting her to see his pain. But she saw. Every wince, every slow breath. She noticed it all. Her chest burned with guilt. She whispered, "If you hadn't met me, you wouldn't be hurt. I'm only a burden." The human glanced at her, his eyes calm. "You're not a burden. You're the reason I'm still fighting." Her lips parted in shock. "What do you mean?" He tied a strip of cloth around his arm and leaned back against the wall. "For years, I walked alone. I thought nothing mattered anymore. But then I saw you broken, calling yourself useless, and I realized if I gave up on you, I'd be giving up on myself too." His words struck her deeply. She lowered her eyes, her throat tight. No one had ever spoken like that about her. To most, she was only an object of pity or disgust, but to him, she was reason. The next morning, she woke before him. The sun lit his face, and she saw lines of tiredness, but also peace. She touched the edge of the blanket gently, whispering, "Why? Why am I worth all this to you?" The answer came later that day. They were walking along the edge of the camp, searching for food, when a group of villagers spotted them. Unlike the scavengers, these people were organized, armed with proper weapons. Their leader stepped forward, pointing at the girl. "That thing has no place here. She's cursed. Bring her to us, or you will be punished." The girl froze, her body trembling violently. Old fear consumed her. She whispered to the human, "It's over. You can leave me now. Save yourself." But the man's hand touched her shoulder, steady and firm. "No, I won't give you to them." The villagers growled angrily. "Why protect her? She's worthless." The human's voice rose, strong and unshaken. "No, she is not worthless. She is precious beyond measure." The words rang out like thunder. The girl gasped, staring at him. Precious. That word again. Stronger this time, louder, said in front of the very people who despised her. The villagers spat on the ground. "You'll regret this. Protecting her will destroy you." But the man stood tall, refusing to step aside. Better destroyed with honor than alive with hate. The villagers left, muttering curses, but their threats hung heavy in the air. When they were alone again, the girl burst into tears. "Why do you say these things? Why do you keep calling me precious? Don't you see I'm nothing?" He knelt in front of her, his eyes burning with truth. "Listen to me. You are not nothing. You survived pain that would have killed others. You carry scars, but they are proof of strength, not shame. And to me, you are more valuable than anyone who mocks you." Her body shook as tears streamed down her face. "But I'm dirty. I'm broken." The human shook his head and gently, carefully pulled her into his arms. She stiffened at first, her mind screaming that she wasn't worthy of touch. But his embrace was warm, steady, safe. "You are not dirty," he whispered into her hair. "You are not broken. You are not shameful. You are precious." Her heart shattered not from pain, but from the overwhelming flood of emotions. For years she had begged for someone to see her as more than filth. For years she had cried into the night, asking why she even lived. Now someone held her like she was a treasure. Her hands trembled as she gripped his shirt, burying her face in his chest. "Don't let go," she whispered. "Please, don't let go." "I won't," he promised. "Not now. Not ever." For a long time, they stayed like that, the ruins around them fading into silence. The girl's tears slowed, replaced by a strange calm. For the first time in her life, she believed, if only a little, that maybe she was not what the world had told her. Later that night, as they sat beside their small fire, she spoke again. If I tell you my name, will you keep it safe? He looked at her, smiling softly. Always. Her lips trembled. Slowly, she whispered the name she had hidden for years, a name she thought no one would ever care about again. When she spoke it, her voice cracked, but it was free. The human repeated her name gently, like it was sacred. It's beautiful, he said. Tears filled her eyes again, but this time they were different. Not only sadness, not only pain, but something new. Hope. As she lay down to sleep, her heart repeated his words again and again. Precious beyond measure. For the first time, she almost believed them. The days after the villagers' threats were tense. The girl and the human stayed close to the ruins, moving carefully, always watching the horizon. The villagers had not returned, but their words lingered like dark clouds. Protecting her will destroy you. The girl carried those words like poison in her heart. Every time she saw the man's wounded arm or his tired face, guilt rose inside her. She whispered to herself, "He's suffering because of me. I should leave before I ruin him completely." One night, while the human slept beside the fire, she sat awake, staring at him. His face was calm, his breathing slow. He looked so peaceful, and that made her heart ache more. Quietly, she wrapped the blanket around him and stood up. Her steps were soft, careful as she began to walk away into the darkness, but she didn't get far. "Where are you going?" His voice, calm but firm, broke the silence. She froze, her back to him. Her voice cracked. "I can't stay. I'll only bring you pain. They'll come again. They'll hurt you. Because of me." The human rose and walked toward her. His steps were steady, his voice unwavering. "So you think leaving will protect me?" She nodded, tears streaming down her face. "Yes, if I disappear, you'll be safe. You don't need me." He stopped in front of her, his shadow tall against the moonlight. "You're wrong. I do need you. You've become my reason to keep fighting." Her lips trembled. "Why? I don't understand." "I've given you nothing." The man reached out and gently touched her shoulder. "You've given me more than you know. You reminded me of myself, of the boy I once was, broken and lost. By saving you, I saved that part of me too. Don't you see? You're not my burden. You're my hope." Her knees weakened and she sank to the ground, overwhelmed. No one had ever said such things to her. To the world, she was dirt. To him, she was hope. She sobbed into her hands, unable to stop. He knelt beside her and whispered, "If you leave, I will follow. If you run, I will find you, because I will not let the world tell you that you are less than precious." His words pierced her heart. For the first time, she didn't feel chained by shame. She felt wanted, needed. The next morning, they left the ruins together. The human decided it was too dangerous to remain in one place. They traveled toward the mountains, where abandoned shelters were rumored to exist. The journey was hard, but the girl found herself changing. When she stumbled, he steadied her. When she grew tired, he shared his strength. And slowly, she began to do the same for him. She started carrying small things, gathering wood for the fire, and even offering him water before she drank. At first, her actions were clumsy, unsure, but each time he smiled at her and said, "See? You are not useless." Her heart swelled with every word. The chains of her past were still heavy, but cracks had begun to form. Light was seeping through. One evening, they reached a ridge overlooking the valley. The sun dipped below the horizon, painting the sky in colors she had never stopped to notice before. She stood silently, staring. "It's beautiful," she whispered. The human stood beside her, his voice soft. "So are you." She turned sharply, her cheeks burning. "Don't say that." "I'm not." "You are," he interrupted gently. "You've survived everything. And still, you can look at the sky and see beauty. That makes you beautiful too." Her heart raced. No one had ever called her that. She wanted to deny it, to hide, but her lips curved into the faintest smile. For the first time, she believed the world could hold something good. That night, As they rested near the fire, the girl whispered, "I don't want to run anymore. I don't want to hide. If the world hates me, let it hate. But if you stay, I think I can learn to live." The human looked at her with quiet pride. Then it settled. "We'll live together." She nodded, tears shining in her eyes. The words were simple, but they felt like a promise stronger than any chain. As she lay down to sleep, she no longer thought of herself as dirty, useless, or shameful. She thought of herself as someone beginning again, a new beginning, born not from the ashes of hate but from the fire of kindness. And though fear still lingered in her heart, hope burned brighter.